Hi there, this is Dave Dubeau. Welcome to another episode of Canadian Profits TV. So this week, we're back in front of the fake brick wall. I know you guys missed that a lot. And through the miracle of modern technology, actually right now I'm in Edmonton getting ready for the upcoming Super Conference, which is actually starting tomorrow, Friday, October the 14th. But here I am in Kamloops filming this episode of Canadian Profits TV. How is that possible? It's magic. That's all I can say. It's magic. Okay. All right, I admit it. We pre-recorded this episode. Sorry. So sue me. What are we talking about on this episode of Canadian Profits TV? Well, for our business breakthrough, I'm going to visit something that my good friend Michael McLean, a phenomenal entrepreneur, a phenomenal marketer, and I were talking about at our during our recent Diamond member only webinar. We'll talk a little bit about one of the big concepts there. For our real estate tips, we're going to be visited by our friend Chris Johnson, who's going to be talking about getting free money from the government for your real estate investing. And for our Mindset Minute, we're going to revisit Steve Chandler and his book, Time Warrior, and look at failing to succeed. All right, so stay tuned for this week's episode of Canadian Profits TV. Thanks. All right, so for this week's business breakthrough, I want to talk a little bit about a concept Michael McLean and I were discussing at our recent Diamond member webinar. And that was going back to old school basics. So one of the things that Michael said that really stuck with me is the dangers of just relying on email for your marketing. And I know a lot of people are getting very reliant on email, getting very lazy with it, and depending on it altogether too much, myself included sometimes. So what Michael was talking about was one of the statistics that he had when he was sending out emails, when he is sending out emails to his database of customers and prospects. And he said something very interesting. And Michael's a very sharp marketer. He does good videos, he does good emails. A lot of his emails are pushing people to watch a video, kind of like what I do. And he does fun things like even giving away NHL hockey tickets. He's got seasons tickets in Ottawa for watching the Ottawa Senators. He gives away hockey tickets. He gives away all sorts of prizes. Does a lot of good stuff, a lot of cool stuff. You'd think that that would interest the average Joe consumer. But even doing that kind of stuff, he says sometimes he's lucky if he's getting 9 or 10% open rate on those kind of emails, So think about that for a minute. If you're sending out 100 emails and only 10 of them are actually getting looked at, that means 90% are getting wasted and they're going along the wayside. And that's kind of the truth. That's the rule of thumb when it comes to email marketing. So email marketing is very seductive because it's fast, it's easy, it's cheap. It's actually pretty much free. However, the results are nowhere near as good as something like direct mail, for example. So let's turn the tables there. If you do direct mail instead of or in addition to email marketing, you can actually turn those statistics completely around. So if you're sending out 100 direct mail letters, if you do a decent job with them, at least 90% of those are going to get opened and read. Compare that to 10% of the emails. So even though it costs a lot more, it involves more work, it's more expensive, direct mail still rules as far as I'm concerned, as far as Michael McLean is concerned, and you should definitely look at it for yourself and your business. That's your business breakthrough for this week.
Hi, my name is Chris Johnson. I'm also known as Mr. Free Money, as I've taught thousands of people how to get free money from both the government and private sources to help them in funding their real estate investments, their businesses, and even getting a free college or university education. Now, what I mean by free money is government grants, loans, and subsidies. You might think that this sounds too good to be true, but this money is real. It's given out by the billions of dollars every year, and I regularly hear back from my clients how they were able to get grants for many thousands, tens of thousands, and even hundreds of thousands of dollars as a result of me showing them how to do it. Let's talk about free money available for real estate investors and for homeowners. Most people I speak to simply don't realize the sheer number of programs available in the area of real estate. Did you know that there are programs out there to help to offset the costs of much needed renovations, energy efficiency upgrades, and also improving or repairing rental suites? There are even programs out there to help people get into home ownership who otherwise could not afford the down payment. These programs are available at every level of government, federally, provincially, and even at the local city level. For many people, these programs can be the difference between getting started as an investor or never getting started at all, between home ownership versus having to continue to pay rent. And what's fun for me is I hear back from my clients on average about every 2 or 3 days that they received a grant. Our average client receives over $16,000 on their very first attempt. So plan to join me along with your host, Dave Dubeau, on the upcoming Canadian Profits webinar at CanadianProfitsWebinar.com, where I'll teach you the specifics of how to get this free money and go into detail on the many programs available to you so that you can join the many thousands of people that I've helped to receive this funding. I look forward to teaching you more on the webcast. See you then.
All right, I hope you enjoyed our guest appearance by our friend Chris Johnson talking about how to get free money for your real estate investing. For your Mindset Minute, again, I want to revisit Time Warrior by my good friend Steve Chandler. Phenomenal guy. I love his books. I highly recommend that you get them as well. Check him out at stevechandler.com. Anyhow, I want to talk a little bit about his chapter 16, which is called Failure is the Ultimate Success. Now, how does that work? Failure is the ultimate success. Well, basically, in a nutshell, what he means is we shouldn't be afraid to fail because that's the only way we learn and that's the only way we can succeed. So again, in my personal experience recently, I've just rejoined a gym. I'm going to CrossFit classes, which are pretty heavy duty. Very heavy duty for me. But anyhow, it's all new movements, all new exercises, a whole new skill set for me. So I absolutely suck at these classes right now. I am getting a little bit better. But I had to have that in mind when I started the program. So I had to be willing to fail in order to eventually succeed. I had to be willing, as Steve says, you have to be willing to lose face in order to succeed as well. So I'm in here with a class with a bunch of people who are in really, really good shape. Most of them are quite a bit younger than I am. You know what? I don't care. I'm okay with it. I went into it with that mindset. I said, I know I'm going to look like a goof. I know I'm going to look like a chubby, middle-aged fat guy because that's kind of what I am. But I'm going to do it anyhow. I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to fail forward. I'm going to fail in order to succeed. And that's what Steve talks about in the book in chapter 16, is being willing to fail in order to succeed. So what is it that you're kind of avoiding because you're worried about being embarrassed by trying it? You're worried about what other people are going to think if you fall flat on your face. What is that thing that's holding you back that if you really just went after it could make a huge difference in your life? I challenge you to check it out, think about it, and then just go for it and do it. Don't worry about failing. You're going to fail. Go into it knowing that you're going to screw up. Go into it knowing that it's not going to be perfect from the beginning, and that's perfectly fine. It shouldn't be. It can't be. You're supposed to make mistakes, and go do it anyhow. That's your Mindset Minute for this week. All right, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's episode of Canadian Profits TV. It's brought to you by the upcoming live online event I'm going to be holding with Chris Johnson, all about unlocking Canada's free money vault. And that's on Tuesday, October the 18th. So next Tuesday, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific. You can find out all about that by clicking on the banner to the right or visiting our website, CanadianProfitsWebinar.com. Now, if you're not available on Tuesday at 6 p.m., but you're interested in this topic, go ahead and register anyhow. That way we'll let you know about the replay when it's ready. Okay, if you're going to be at the Super Conference, the Fast Track Super Conference, watching the Dragons, Robert Herjavec and Arlene Dickinson from CBC's Dragon's Den, I look forward to meeting you there tomorrow, starting tomorrow. If you're not able to make it, that's too bad. Maybe we'll see you next time around. Have a great week, have a great weekend, and talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
You might be asking yourself, why am I crying? It's because I missed out on being a member of Canadian Profits, It's the best place, for Canadianized info, education and inspiration, for business owners and real estate investors. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this. Don't do the same thing that I did. Don't make that mistake. Go and take a test drive of the program and get the free book. Let me gather myself. Alright, you can do this by clicking on one of the banners on the right of the video.